Well, here we go again. You know, I don't mean to ape off the video topics of other significantly more prominent content creators, but this story is so damn insane and exactly the kind of story I love to rip apart on my channel. So I had to make this video. I'm really annoyed though that this story slipped past my radar, but this shit right here is exactly the reason why I don't visit trash sites like Kotaku. So it's not really surprising that I missed it, but buckle up because I'm going to tear them apart for this woke nonsense. Final Fantasy XVI dev has a terrible answer for why the game is so white. Ugh. Yup, there it is. Absolutely ridiculous. But are you honestly that surprised to see an article like this? You know, on the one hand, I love destroying these kinds of articles, but on the other hand, I hate that I even have to. But it's just an aggravating reality that the world of games journalism is dominated by activists pretending to be gamers. And, you know, they're always going to find something to be pissed off about. They will always find an individual developer or director or an entire studio to try to cancel over unimportant shit. You know, we went through this exact same crap back in 2018 over the game Kingdom Come Deliverance, which was also accused of being too white. You know, enough already. And they have some serious gall to target Yoshi P. That guy is absolutely beloved among Final Fantasy fans, and for good reason. So, let's continue. 2 weeks ago, Square Enix released a new story trailer for its upcoming RPG, Final Fantasy XVI. There's just one noticeable problem. There doesn't seem to be a single non-white character in it. So IGN asked producer Naoki Yoshida about whether or not the game would feature any black people or other people of color. Unfortunately, his response made me go, yikes, in real life. Oh, what an important question to ask. You know, don't ask him, hey, how long will the game be? Or, how did you come up with the idea for the story? Or how about, have there been any big challenges you faced throughout development and managed to overcome as a team? No, of course not. The only thing they want to ask is, why are there only white people? Yoshida explained that the fantasy world of Valisthea was based on medieval Europe, and they wanted to limit the world culturally and geographically. Valisthea was never going to realistically be as diverse as, say, a modern-day Earth, or even Final Fantasy XVI, he said, as if he was being asked to incorporate every race on the entire planet. Ultimately, we felt that while incorporating ethnic diversity into Valisthea was important, an over-incorporation into this single corner of a much larger world could end up causing a violation of those narrative boundaries we originally set for ourselves. As if he was being asked to incorporate every race on the entire planet. What is even your damn point here? You know, if you are so upset over the game's lack of diversity, why are you trying to narrow the scope of what type of people you are hoping for when he gives you his exact reason for not having any in the game? Oh yeah, that's right. Your only concern is the game having people with not white skin. I mean, even if the game had a huge array of diverse characters from all different kinds of cultures, it still wouldn't be good enough for you because your judgment of a character only goes skin deep. Content of the character is what's most important. You know, are they interesting or are they conflicted? Are they funny or are they evil? If the characters are well written, then who gives a damn what color their skin is? Which begs the question, why did they enforce a whites-only boundary in the first place? After acknowledging that the real world is more diverse than Valisthea, he continued, the story we are telling is fantasy, yes, but it is also rooted in reality. Which is it, Yoshida? You can't say that your fictional world isn't bound to reality and then use reality to explain why black people can't exist in Valisthea. Pick a struggle and stick with it, please. Sure he can. He can do whatever he wants. It's his world. You know, if he wants to make a fantasy game world with outrageous magic and monsters, but also have it strictly adhere to medieval Europe's overwhelmingly white demography, you know, he is perfectly at liberty to do so. But I gotta say, it's hilarious that you think there are explicit rules he needs to be following here. What's really frustrating about all of this is that black and brown people have always existed in medieval Europe. If the creative leadership had done more research or checked their biases, then they might have noticed that black people have been living in Britain for 2,000 years. Or that some black Europeans were canonized in the Holy Roman Empire, or realized that Iberia was under Islamic rule for approximately 500 years. Instead of a realistic imagining of medieval Europe, we got Final Fantasy XVI instead. My God, this article is an absolute clown show. Once again, this is a completely made-up world, and Yoshi P has made very clear that it has very specific narrative boundaries. It doesn't matter that a microscopic portion of the population of Europe back then may have been black and brown people. The point is they weren't indigenous. And when the majority of people think of medieval Europe, they picture a certain type of people, certain types of architecture, castles and swords and horses. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For Christ's sake, this game is being developed by Japanese people. They aren't even white. And this is obviously what they think of when they picture medieval Europe, which is the immediate inspiration they drew from, to design their world of Valisthea. So why did the developers decide to include only white characters in the trailer? Yoshida has an answer that sounds entirely like a non-answer. It can be challenging to assign distinctive ethnicities to either antagonist or protagonist without triggering audience preconceptions, inviting unwarranted speculation and ultimately stoking flames of controversy, he told IGN. He's 100% right. The woke mob are so unhinged and unpredictable that they didn't even want to take a chance. They picked the world's specific narrative rules and stuck to it. But we all know you're just pissed off that he isn't bowing down to the mob's demands. Yoshi P is such a boss. I'm skipping past paragraphs because there's a lot of unimportant fluff here. For all that Yoshida is lauded for being the man who saved the Final Fantasy franchise, and he sure as hell did, his creativity is also limited by a genre that has never been fair to black and brown fans around the world. Final Fantasy XVI may be the most mature game in the series, but its outlook on human history is a step backward from modern JRPGs. No, it isn't. It's only seen as a step back to the wokies. And no one cares about your opinion, so no worries there. No one cares that you're pissed off because Yoshi P didn't toss in a couple of token characters to fill your imaginary diversity quota. I mean, where was your outrage over a lack of white people in Wakanda and Black Panther? I mean, come on. Sure, it's based in Africa, but it's also a completely made-up country. And the fact that there are white people in Africa, that means there needs to be some living in that country, right? Your griping is idiotic, pure and simple. And I'm not going to stand by while you try to smear a great guy who absolutely adores his job, adores his fans, and especially adores his development team. Yoshi P is an incredible man and sure as hell doesn't deserve this. So that's about it. I'm done with this garbage. So let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Also, please like and share the video, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my content. And I'll catch you all later.